Hey, welcome everyone. We're going to do a quick analysis on that last game. Of course, don't want to go through the replay 40 minutes long. We want to get right to that next game. But one thing I do want to illustrate really quickly before the next game starts is how cool it was that both those guys played their positions very well. Of course, Innovation and Flash, two of the very best Terrans in the world. Their macro, their micro, their positioning was always spot on. What was especially interesting I found is that we had Flash over here at the top left, for example, right? And then on the other hand, we had Innovation over here at the bottom left. Right, we'll put a little money sign to say where the bases are. And what we saw happen is that because of the structure of the bases, right, as Innovation expanded, he had his army in a location right around here, right? And from this location, he has a very easy access to Flash's main base. He can just run straight up there, drop into the main, and he used that to great effect several times throughout that game. On the other hand, Flash didn't have that same easy access into Innovation's base, but what Flash did have is Flash had insane Flash macro, which meant he had the larger army. As soon as Flash got the larger army, he could occupy the middle of the map right there. And once he had the middle of the map, what that meant is it choked down Innovation's ability to expand. So as soon as Innovation tried to take a base over on the left side, Flash could then strike over here and knock that base out. As soon as Innovation wanted to take a base on the bottom, Flash could knock down here, and he could cross out that base as well. So he really contained Innovation by taking that central map control. Greater mobility. Innovation couldn't cover both the left side and the bottom side. Meanwhile, of course, Flash was free to expand in all these locations pretty much across the entire map just because of that central map control. So it was super awesome to see both these guys so skilled. Innovation playing to that easy access into Flash's main, working those Doom drops, and Flash utilizing his amazing macro, take control of the middle of the map, and then slowly choke Innovation out to win that game at the end of the macro. But you know what? Let's get on to the next game because these games are fantastic. Back to the caster desk.
Thank you very much, Axlav. And you know, someone tweeted a dear friend Apollo, and he said, this is why Flash is known as one of the best RTS players in the world. And you cannot take a single thing away from Innovation, because for someone to be that good and still put on a 40-minute game like he did, absolutely incredible. We're looking at some of the top talent in the world. Before we get started in our fourth game, which is going into Daybreak, let's talk a little bit about some of the partners and some of the great offers that we have this weekend here at the MLG 2013 Winter Championship. And of course, thank you to all those who are supporting. Don't forget, over at the MLG Pro Shop, which is online at mlgproshop.com, get a 15% discount code, F46PQN. Just type that in, get yourself a hoodie, mouse pad, some gear, whatever you might want. And it's all available anytime from the MLG Pro Shop. Daybreak's going to be our next map. Don't forget, you can also get a free QCK plus mouse pad when you buy the Sensei MLG edition, also available at the shop. I believe $19.99 value. Just head on over to MLG.2 Steel Series Bundle. Get your offer now. Now, Husky.
djwheat.
Game number 4.
Game number 4
Flash
there.
ahead.
Looking calm, as always. I don't think I've ever seen him feel, or at least look nervous. Innovation. He's got to be a little bit worried here because he didn't drop. That's what I have to emphasize here, is he hasn't dropped a single game up until he runs against Flash. Now it is 2-1 into Flash's favor right now, and it does look like it could be an epic game. The map is going to be Daybreak. I cannot tell you how many epic TVTs I've seen on Daybreak. It's actually kind of absurd. Again, the map is relatively easy to cut in half. You can get the 4 bases on either side. The one in the middle is kind of okay to get or whatever, but it can still be a super long game between these players. I want to say the longest game ever that was like 155 minutes was on this map. I'm probably messing that up, but either way, TVTs on this map can prove to be so epic, especially between these two players here. So once we get the game set up, once the players are ready, then we are going to be good to go right now. And there's a quick look at Innovation. He's got his game face on, and he is ready to go. So it does look like we just got to get our last observer into the game before we start this, because djwheat observing the game is kind of important.
It's pretty important.
Otherwise, we just kind of, like, 2 people get to see it as opposed to 100,000. I got to say thank you to the 100,000 plus people on stream. That's awesome.
Yeah.
We have an awesome crowd here. A lot of people ready for this game. And, yeah, if you want to follow us on Twitter, djwheat on Twitter, husky StarCraft, but you know what, that doesn't matter because this is about to get underway. Let's go ahead and start this game. Both of our players are now ready. Are you guys ready for game number 4? This crowd has been so phenomenal.
These games are so intense that I feel a little like I might need a massage after this whole thing. Just
sometimes
it's like,
sometimes I forget that this is called quote-unquote work because these games are so good that I don't know quite what to expect here.
Yep, we're going to find out what's going on here in just a second. We're going to probably have to regame here, and rightfully so, rather regame before the game begins. And inside, if you just joined us, we are in the semifinals of the StarCraft 2 competition here at the MLG 2013 Winter Championships. We've got a whole lot of gaming going around us all weekend long. The venue here has been completely filled every single day, Husky. And from the cheers, not only at StarCraft, but all around us, it certainly sounds like it has been an exciting weekend all around.
Oh, it has been a great, great tournament. Of course, this tournament was laid out much differently than we're used to seeing, but we were able to cast every single game. And you were able to see every single player, which is something I always push for, is give those players more screen time. They deserve huge, huge followings and mad respect for what they do. Between the traveling, between the practice regimen, and also just how difficult this game actually is, they deserve nothing but the utmost respect. Of course, Flash being successful for a very long time. Innovation, though, proving to be an extremely promising player there, as he did do quite well in the previous tournaments here, but I do think we are going to have to just re-host this. And
this happened to you guys last night, right?
No, I think we had the exact same. I think we'll go ahead and do that.
Yeah,
I think we had the same thing happen before, where there's just an error loading it. The players weren't in the game or anything like that, so just gotta go ahead and get it reset up. Again, I feel like it's because the games are actually too epic.
Not able to contain the epicness within. I mean, honestly, after that game and some of the games we've seen at this competition, it has been such an exciting and explosive way to kick off the first major tournament since Heart of the Swarm was released. It's hard to believe just last Tuesday. I mean, you and Sean are doing a part of the 24-hour launch party, which took place around the world, and here we are 4 or 5 days later. I mean, almost a week old now. And we're already seeing some awesome stuff. If you compare that to the early days of like Wings of Liberty, then I mean, you remember how kind of the games were back then. It was like everything was awesome because no one really knew.
Well, and honestly,
was awesome.
Like during beta, roaches were actually awesome. They had
actually
2 armor, 1 supply.
1 supply?
That means you could have 200 roaches. Are you kidding me? That was ridiculous. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and just re-host right now, but I gotta say, it's been a very busy week for most people involved in StarCraft. There was I was at the launch event for 26-ish hours doing that, which was amazing. I got to sign over 1,000 people's stuff, which was a lot of fun. And then I played through the entire single-player campaign. I had to cram it out before coming to MLG, and so I did that.
Jelly.
And then I got like 5 hours of sleep, and then I'm here. Kind of wish, though, that there was always StarCraft events going on every day that I could be at, because they are amazing.
They're great. Thank you guys, both returnees to MLG and those who are attending an event for your first time. Hopefully, if this is your first visit, things have lived up to your expectations. I certainly have been incredibly excited about this particular tournament to kick off 2013 and what will hopefully be another fantastic year of StarCraft 2 and beyond for MLG. And it looks like we are ready to go.
Yeah, both players are now ready as we are back into the lobby. If you are just tuning in, you missed some epic games, definitely make a note that you should go back and watch those, but you got to watch this first because it could be equally as epic. And one thing I want to say, djwheat, is TVT is actually one of my favorite matchups in Heart of the Swarm. I don't normally say that for mirror matchups, but in the games I've cast on my YouTube and the games that I've seen on, online with other tournaments and the games I've seen here, TVT is just a cool matchup right now.
TVT was getting upset because it was getting a bad rap. Especially, a lot of people just, well, initially when it was Siege Tank Viking, you remember those early days and things changed. But, then the Terran players just started displaying, so many different unique strategies and ways that they could do things. And now in Heart of the Swarm, that's just amplified even more.
And the players showcasing this, of course, spawning up in the top right side. He is 1 game away from advancing to the finals. Make a roar for Flash. Flash has been on Rollster for a long time.
Yes, he has.
He's been on that team through like 4 name changes. Do you know one time they were named Finger Boom? Do you remember that?
What?
And that they quickly changed away from the name Finger Boom.
Not going to be doing that. Well, here in the southwest position as the blue Terran, he needs to choose to stay alive. Currently down 1 game, needs 2 more to win from STX Seoul. It is Innovation.
Now, djwheat, I'm going to be a little bit honest here. I am completely biased for this game because I want Innovation to win it, because then that means we get an awesome, awesome ace match. That's who I'm going to secretly be cheering for. But we'll just have to wait and see, because Flash, I mean, he definitely has deserved the wins that he's gotten. Innovation deserved the win that he got. And I want to come back to the fact that Innovation did not drop a single game here throughout the tournament. Now, all of a sudden, is up for elimination. And this is not Survivor. You do not get an immunity thing that you can just get a free win off of Flash
there's
with.
no redemption island here at all. It's bad news. And, you know, I mean, you just gave away one of Caster's worst key secrets, which is that we oftentimes wish that games will go the full series just because it makes them that much more awesome.
It's like, oh no, Flash lost, so now we have to cast another epic game.
The word is out, Husky. Giving it all away now. Gas is down on both sides. We did see a little bit earlier gas from Innovation, and both players are going to be blocking any sort of vision from that SCV. So we're going to get things kicked off. Now remember, we started game number 1 or 2, excuse me, with a very similar build order all the way up to about 35 supply.
Yeah.
In which case, then we saw Flash begin to go mech and his opponent go bio.
And both players utilizing siege tanks quite a lot. Remember now that in Heart of the Swarm, siege tanks spawn automatically with siege mode. So the timing of those siege tanks, they can be a little bit safer. You can have them for defense right away. I honestly thought we would see more aggressive builds with tanks, but players are realizing that, you know, 1 tank a little bit earlier is not a build that you can actually kill your opponent with, especially if they're great at micro. So what you'll see is just more tanks in general. The build doesn't necessarily revolve around the fact that you can get that early, but it does allow the Terran players to survive much easier. And that means we get a little bit longer games. Now, you do see Flash going to be dropping the expand on the low ground, following it up with a factory right here, whereas Innovation's got his factory nearly done.
Yeah, I started that right away, and you can see where it is. That means the starport's going to go down over there. We're going to get a Widow Mine out of the factory first, and then we'll watch for an add-on. But Flash, on the other hand, spends his initial gas on the reactor, then puts down his CC, followed by the factory, allowing him to get that 2-base economy, produce Marines at a factor of 2 and not just 1, while still trying to stay in time with his opponent's factory as well. But there's going to be a couple of Widow Mines pumped out here before things get started, and Flash actually sees any sort of production out of his factory, and that starport for Innovation is about to complete.
Now, speaking of Widow Mines, speaking of starports and medevacs, I was actually right before this game reading that Reddit thread where people are actually really enjoying Heart of the Swarm. So if you're someone who hasn't tried out the game yet, if you're someone who got a little bit bored of Wings of Liberty, definitely go tell your friends, go try the game out. And I think even Idra just tweeted, you know, there's so much more going on in these games, and he's kind of hoping that other races get similar units to the Terrans. So definitely, this is a great expansion. I highly recommend it to everyone, as the games, they just seem to be more action-packed because there's a lot more units that are not only fast, have harassment potential, but also are locking down different areas of the map. I think the Widow Mine's the best example, but Swarm Host as well, a great example. And I think one of people's most favorite unit is the Viper. At the end of the day, djwheat, it's a good game, and you should go get it if you haven't already.
So Innovation did this strategy versus a few of his other opponents, and here's kind of the idea. Of course, you get the medevac, you've got the 2 Widow Mines. Now, in this case, he's going to drop into the back of the mineral line, but I've also seen him put the Spider Mines right near the ramp of his opponent's base, so that anything that tries to go from the natural to the main gets hit. And so he's going to just go ahead and hit both sides of the mineral line, and it's still going to do some damage. And
yeah,
Flash
one in
is
the
going to
main
have
base.
to react. But Flash,
he is reacting here by being aggressive. And actually, I was talking about how 1 siege tank isn't that effective at killing your opponent. That's exactly what he's going to try and do here with the 1 siege tank. So Flash is like, no, Husky, I'm going to prove you wrong just because it's fun, as he does have the 1 siege tank now. Essentially, he's got to be careful not to put it too close. That's actually snipeable with just Marines. But I'm looking at this, and what exactly is Innovation supposed to do here? This is a tough spot.
Oh, well, that seed shank just came out. It is going to get shoved for the top, but Innovation is able to take out that seed shank on the high, or that was on the low ground from the high ground, and now moving out Widow Mine, taking out this other mine, and Flash is going to have to retreat out of there. Did force a lift. Wait, you're not going anywhere, buddy. Innovation on the chase. Flash is going to drop. CJF, he's now going after the medevac. Oh my God, he's going to get it.
He got the medevac. Oh my God. This game is too much for me to handle with these players playing, as both players being amazing at the early stages right here. And one thing I want to mention about the Widow Mine is that it does not, the splash damage, it does not one-shot Terran SCVs as opposed to Zerg SCVs, but the other workers, they get one-shot with splash damage. So if you're going to go for a Widow Mine drop or a Widow Mine rush like that, they have to survive a lot longer than they do versus other races, because they have to get at least 2 shots for the splash damage to kill an SCV.
Well, we got part 2 of Flash's attack coming up here, and there is just one to take on the, but we have the Viking eliminated by that Widow Mine. There's the scan. He's going to try to take out the Seasick on the high ground. A couple hits are going down, and it does get eliminated. Still 2 tanks left for Flash.
Flash being ridiculously aggressive right now, and as he should, because he is currently ahead in supply. He's got that expansion established. If he can force the retreat on this expansion, he's in great shape. The medevac does go down. Has to land the Vikings here. Decides not to land him on top. CJ get GG! He's gonna GG! Flash has done it!
Flash takes the approach of some early aggression, even while throwing down his 3CC, and Flash will be our first finalist here for the MLG 2013 Winter Championship, defeating a guy who went undefeated throughout the entire tournament, only to meet Flash and taken down 3 games to 1.
Man, Innovation Run, there's your winner. Give it up for Flash, such an amazing player for many, many years. Flash has been entertaining me for since I got back into StarCraft on the professional level. He has been so good for so long. A lot of players were doubting the Brood War players coming into StarCraft 2 with dominance. Some are doing okay, some are doing terrible, but as you can see, some are doing amazing. Doing well not only in the GSL, but also here at MLG.
And I'll tell you what, Flash advances on to the finals, but crowd, I want you to give the biggest hype roar that you can for Innovation. He beat Huck, he beat Lenok, he beat Rain, all 3-0 victories, only to fall to Flash himself. He deserves every bit of applause.
All right, there's Innovation. Man, and to think, DJ Wheat, we're not even fully to the finals yet.
I know.
Oh, that series was so absolutely good.
We still got a few more, but we know our first finalists now. There were several people out there that said Flash is one of the contenders that is going to be able to take this tournament. And for those people, they now have a quarters flip chance of being correct. We still are not 100% sure who's going to be on the other side between Life and Last, but we do know that MC is in the other semifinal.
All right, it does look like Life also advancing to face off MC, but let's go ahead and throw it to the main stage for an interview with your winner.
Let's hear it for your finalist, Flash. Flash, it did come down to skill, and you came out on top. I'm sure there are so many Terrans and all races looking at your play and going, how can I have skill like that? So one of the most important things in that match was knowing when to be aggressive, when to pull back. What's going through your head that tells you when it's time to really push?
그 많은 테란 선수께서 플래시 선수가 잘하고 실력같이 높고 실력 잘하시고 싶으신데요. 그 언제 공격하고 언제 빼야 되는지 그 타이밍 같은 거 어떻게 아시는지 그거에 대해서 궁금하다고.
그런 거 같은 경우는 거의 많은 연습을 통해서 단련되어서 그렇고요. 어떨 때는 감으로 플레이할 때도 있고 그 두 가지를 갖추는 게 중요한 것 같아요.
He believes there are 2 major factors that plays into those. First is a lot of practice, and the second is intuition.
Definitely has a lot of that. One other thing that came into play was there was so much drop play going on in a lot of those games. How is it that you keep enough vision on the map to know both where to drop and when, as well as when drops are about to happen in your base?
그 드랍 플레이 같은 게 많았었는데 언제 드랍해야 되고 어디서 드랍해야 되고 그걸 다 어떻게 아셨죠?
그런 거 같은 경우에는 약간 감에 의존해서 게임했던 것 같아요.
During those times, I completely trusted my intuition, and I was able to pull it off through that.
It works. So that's the answer. Just have intuition like Flash, and we'll all play like Flash. Okay? Upgrades were also a big deal in this mirror matchup. Can you tell us about the importance of upgrades in Heart of the Swarm, especially in TVT?
업그레이드를 많이 이용하셨는데 TVT 같은 경우, 테란 대 테란 같은 경우는 업그레이드가 얼마나 중요하신지 그쪽에 대해서.
제 생각에는 거의 태태전 같은 경우는 반반 이상을 차지한다고 생각해요. 그래서 업그레이드가 굉장히 중요해요.
He believes that during a TVT, half the game is upgrades, so he believes that upgrades are very important.
Good. Well, we'll let him go and get calm, but one last question. You will play either Life or MC in the finals. Who would you prefer to play?
라이프 선수나 MC하고 경기를 하실 건데 어떤 선수하고 더 하고 싶으신지.
개인적으로는 이승현 선수하고 하고 싶어요.
I personally prefer life.
All right. Well, let's see who it is. Thank you, Flash, so much. We'll head back to you, casters, and get this next match underway.
Regardless of what happens here today, we will not see a mirror match in the finals, and that alone is something to celebrate about. However, if we saw something like Flash vs. Innovation, I could watch something like that pretty much all day. But it was a concern of some, but we now have remaining Life, MC, and Flash. Innovation knockdown, we'll see him again in the third place matchup, but a pretty fantastic racial distribution.
Yeah, no, absolutely. This has been an absolutely amazing tournament thus far. Terran players off to a roaring start, actually getting hacked down by both Zerg and Protoss here. I just want to talk about the players you're going to be seeing here in just a little bit. Life was quickly the last remaining Zerg within the tournament. First he went 3-0 versus Minigun. Then he went 3-2 versus Polt. That was a TVZ. Then he went 3-2 again versus Last. That was also a TVZ. Now he's going to be going up against MC, and then MC went 3-0 versus Hero, 3-1 versus MVP, who has 4 GSL championships, so definitely very impressive there. 3-0 versus Bomber. Now I think the story of this game is that Life barely scraped by, but he's been destroying Terrans. But MC has also had a lot of build order wins that Terran players did not know how to deal with. And now they're matching up for a PVZ the first time throughout this tournament. I guess, you know, Life was against Minigun. That's going to be crazy.
Yeah, I mean, even as a Zerg fanatic, I think the thought of MC versus Flash is such an epic,
too much to
you
handle.
know, like, I mean, the old school versus new school as it relates to StarCraft 2. And either way, Life versus MC should be amazing.
And also I want to say that MC back in Brood War was not, you know, at the caliber of Flash, whereas in StarCraft 2, he is the boss toss, man. He's the most successful Protoss player out there. So that is an epic story in and amongst itself. Can Flash already overcome the practice deficit he's had in StarCraft 2 over the years, or would MC be able to do it? But first, we're going to find out between Life and MC. I believe this is my last game, so I just want to thank everyone in the audience and everyone on the stream for tuning in. You guys have been awesome. I love you guys.
Weekend, Husky.
You are great. My voice definitely needs a break, but either way, guys, do not go anywhere, because if you're to leave right now, you're like missing the whole point of the tournament. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Any final words, DJ Wheat, before we hop into the next games?
I'll tell you what, 3 matches left. You better get up, grab what you need now, because once you sit down, you're not going to want to go anywhere. The MLG 2013 Winter Championship concludes in the next 3 matches. Stay with us. Don't go away.